Minato is probably one of my favorite characters in this game. He feels so good to use, and he actually has a style that I really like to play as, which is countering. So countering in this game is like, it's kind of hard. It's kind of difficult. If you play a pure counterpunching style, it can get quite difficult sometimes. Um, this is why you want to blend like outboxing alongside counterpunching. What is the main difference between counterpunching and outboxing? Well, outboxing is all the way, well, out here for the most part. You're really using a lot of circling, um, and you're setting up your attacks in a different way. But countering is a bit more. It's a bit more about inches rather than dashing all the way out. You're dashing just enough to set your counters up. And that's it. That's the main difference, really. Oh no, that's a lie. So alongside only dashing out, like just enough to set your counters up, you can be a bit more aggressive, I think, with a counter punching style. Especially since I'm using Miata. Miata has pretty good durability, good speed. He's just a great character, but he has a good reach as well, which makes it easier to set up certain counters. Anyway, so he also has a great bullet time as well, and bullet time is more or less the bread and butter of setting up counters in this game, because I can counter punches way easier. I can set them up a lot easier. I can anticipate them a lot easier. Bullet time overall is just super important for a counter punching style. You could play it without bullet time, but I've had mixed results because you're running on basically a reaction time, which, with how fast-paced this game can get, isn't reliable. But bullet time is reliable. And Miai has great bullet time because it's like, I think it's like maybe like 2 minutes long, maybe 2 to 3 minutes long, maybe a little bit longer than that, but it's really long. But yeah, that's enough talking. I'll give a demonstration and counter punching, and how easy it actually is if you play it right. Outboxing hard, counter punching is easy, funnily enough. There's actually like 3 different counters in this game. I forgot to mention it, but I'll mention it now before I fight Archie. So there's shallow counters, heavy counters, and momentum counters, and simultaneous counters as well. So shallow counters are counters that land but don't do any damage because you're either out of range or too close in, or whatever. You're not in your character's ideal range to land your counter. You really want full extension on certain punches. And then what was after? Shallow counters, and then oh yeah, heavy counters. These are basically counters that you want to land. They land flush and they get stun, basically. Good counters. And then you have momentum counters. Momentum counters are basically, yeah, momentum counters and simultaneous counters are kind of the same thing. I was a good demonstration I did with my fights against Ippo when I was playing as Saramura, when I was countering with Dempsey Roll. Those type of counters are pretty hard to land. It was easy to land against Ippo because his Dempsey Roll animation is kind of obvious once you understand it. Yeah, those counters they're pretty fun to land. I don't know for sure if they do any more damage than just heavy counters, but they're cool to land. They probably do. I'm gonna assume they do. I'm just gonna assume they do. So shallow counters, weakest. Heavy counters, good. And then simultaneous or momentum counters, best. And hardest to land. Anyway, I'll give a demonstration on some counters. I'm literally just gonna play pure counter. I'm not gonna do anything else. Like, look at how slow he is. This is why bullet time is just so easy. also why bullet time makes countering so easy, because like literally in slow motion. Okay, I'm playing awful right now. Let me focus. Okay. Okay, so counters I landed by were heavy counters, which were good counters basically. I'll try and go for a simultaneous counter. The point is that once you land a heavy counter, you'll get a stun, and then you follow up that stun with attacks, and then rinse and repeat. Simultaneous counters, they're best to land when I'm gonna try and time it when Archie does a dip animation instead of one. Instead of trying to counter, well, you can try and momentum counter like jabs and stuff like that, but it's kind of hard. Okay, you can see that he does a dip, and I'm gonna try and time him. So I'm gonna be patient. Okay, that's a good. Oh, that was a good example of a simultaneous counter. He threw a weak punch, and I threw a heavy punch simultaneously. Think of Joe's cross counter. That's a perfect example of some of the counters you can get in this game. They are so hard to pull off, but when you do, oh my god, it's amazing. It satisfies me in a weird way because it's just so fun to land. Um, I mean that's it for counter punching, right? It really, I can't. I'm not gonna say it's easy because again, I'm kind of going against Archie. And Archie's slow as hell, but it's easy enough once you know what you're doing with bullet time as well. And assuming at this point you already got the gist of movement, then yeah, counter punching's kind of easy. Um, Especially since I'm using Miyata. If I was using any other character besides Miyata, even Itagaki would be kind of risky because Itagaki is weak as hell. This is when I go. Actually, no. Okay, so every counter I've done just now would be a risky counter. Basically, that counter I just did was risky because obviously I got hit and that could have been a power jab, but it turns out it was a weak jab. So it's a mix of anticipation and I guess luck sometimes. Okay, I'm sorry. That right there, that's as good as it gets. That is as good as it gets. Okay, I'm not gonna continue anymore because that was a perfect ending to a counterpunching tutorial. Hopefully it's useful. Um, I'm kind of having fun with these tutorials, but I don't think there's any much. I don't think there's much left. Um, I think there's only inside fighting now, right? Um, yeah. Oh no, I said I was gonna do a demonstration on safe counters. Right, yeah, because all the counters I just did right now were risky. Okay, so I'm gonna switch to Itagaki, who is a very, very fragile character, and um, and I guess I'll just show off safe counters. But safe counters are boring as hell, so it'll be really quick. Okay, so I forgot to go over how I'm doing like the bullet time countering thing. So I'll show you guys now. I'm doing bullet time, and then I'm layering it when I attack. I'm doing this as well. So you guys already know my settings, so you should do. So what I'm doing right now, I forgot what this is called, but basically when you attack and you press that, then you land. Then it slows down time and lets you set up your counters basically. But you can only do it when you throw a punch. So I'm gonna throw a jab. and then it automatically goes in bullet time for me, instead of me having to manually go in bullet time. So I'll go over that again. So this is me manually going in bullet time, and then I'm going to throw an attack, and then I'm going to layer it with the countering thing. And this is me just throwing an attack and doing the countering thing instead of layering it with bullet time. So it's a quick thing, basically. Yeah. So Itagaki is an interesting character. He is a thorough example of a glass cannon, but he lacks power. So I guess he's less of a cannon, more of a pillow, a glass pillow. I don't know. He's kind of annoying to players because the payoff just isn't really like worth it. To be honest, you could just pick any other character besides Itagaki. You could pick Sawamura or Miyata and do everything he can do with Bella. But he's quick, I guess. Yeah, so because of how fragile Itagaki is, I can only play a certain type of way, which is in and out, countering, in and out. So basically outboxing, less countering, more outboxing. But because he has bullet time, then I can counter, basically. So it's different to Sakai, because Sakai has weak bullet time. But Itagaki has a strong bullet time, so I'm blending outboxing with countering instead of a pure outboxing style, or a pure counter-punching style. So Itagaki is somewhere in the middle, between outboxer and countering. Actually, another thing I forgot to go over is that you cannot do any risky moves, or you can, but they're risky. So any lunging attacks or any dashing attacks are risky. Anything like that is risky. It's mainly just circling to the weak side and attacking their blind spot. And that's the gist of Itagaki, or safe countering. Okay, so I was recording a Itagaki video, so I could I was recording my Itagaki demonstration, and I think I found an interesting animation. So I think characters can actually break their hand, their jaws, etc., etc. Because this is something that's actually happened before, but I didn't make a video on it because I thought it was just a glitch. But it's happened again, so I think there might be some truth to it. But basically, when I was doing my Kamigawa versus Nekoto thing, at one point when I was recording a fight, Nekoto actually broke his hand. Like, he was holding it. There's an animation where he's like holding his arm back and he couldn't throw it properly. Like, it'd miss, basically. And I'm seeing something with Itagaki right now, where, because Sendo obviously hit him and his jaw was in the air. His jaw's in the air now, actually. And I'm not sure if it's just a glitch or if it's actually like a jaw break animation or a broken hand animation. Look, you can see him right now. Like, his chin's in the air. It's really weird. And I can't use, oh no, I can use it now. Weird. Anyway, this was just really weird, and I thought I'd include it in the video. And it seems to only happen with, fragile characters. For example, Nekoto isn't exactly fragile, but he's a speedster, so maybe speedsters break their hand more easy than inside fighters. Because I swear to God, I've only had this happen with Nekoto and Itagaki. I'm gonna see if this happens with Sakai at some point, and if it does, then I'll make a video on it. I just thought this was so interesting. Because even his hand's weird right now. His right hand, compared to his normal animation. I don't know, I might be tripping, but it's really, really interesting to see stuff like this. I don't know, he throws the right hand a little bit off as well. It's a bit too high compared to how we normally throws it. Like, he's throwing it to the forehead. No, he's broken his hand for sure. He's definitely broken it. He keeps throwing it to full hurt, to full hurt. I think he's either broken his hand, his arm, or whatever. Anyway, yeah. So I guess your character can break their hand or arm at some point. Seems to be a pretty rare animation because this is the first time I've ever had this with Itagaki, and I played Itagaki a few times before. But it's happened recently, so it's happened 2 times recently. Um, I don't know. Let me know if you've had this animation before. I think it's really interesting. Really, really, really cool detail that they included in this game.